out to everybody an update email and so on. You know,
Oh, okay.
so that's the reason we don't want to do it in that way, right?
Yeah, that's
So
fine.
we yeah. And also, you remember the pain that we went through for some reason. If someone doesn't by mistake log in into the Teams and then join the meeting, they don't see chat symbols and things like that, if you remember. So we
Yeah.
just in order to simplify and avoid spam as well as these kind of things, we created a generic meeting rather than associating it with the Codeathon. But still, you can use the posts, etc., to discuss and collaborate inside the Codeathon channel.
Okay, good. That makes sense.
Yeah. Maybe what you should probably tell to the audience is type their questions in the Christopher Codathon rather than typing it in the chat, right? If you want that, you can ask Shad.
Okay, okay. Will do.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Even if it is there, it will always be there, right? It won't go away. The only thing
Yeah.
is it won't be associated. So Shad, I just wanted to tell you that this is the first time that we are doing it in this new tenant, right?
Yes.
You probably have to give it a few minutes because Shad is seeing still people are joining in the old tenant.
Yeah.
The other Shad, right? The
Uh-huh.
program Shad. So she's seeing it in other tenants. So let's give it for a few minutes, at least 5 minutes, because it's the first time we are doing it.
Yeah, let's
Hopefully,
wait
it's
for
okay with
around
everyone.
30 people. Then we'll start.
Yeah, please. Thank you very much.
ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ರಾತ್ರಿ
Hey guys, just a quick note. We'll be starting in around 5 minutes. We want a few more people to join in before we start.
All right.
Hey, hello, this is Khader. Thanks, guys, for your patience. We have done a big work of migrating, like I mentioned, from the old tenant to the new tenant. Just want to make sure, all the participants are, asked to join in case if they join in the old tenant. So that's the reason we wanted to give it for some time. Guys, can hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Awesome.
No problem, Kader. It's all
Thank
fine.
you. Thank you, Hiral.
You're doing a noble cause, so yeah, completely fine.
Thank you. I just wanted to also talk about one topic here. Actually, two topics, right? So the first one is, we are preparing the certificate. This program is ending on June 10th, as you guys know. From June 17th onwards, we are starting the test automation track, right? So we are preparing the certification. We need the right names. So programs team will reach out to you to get the right names so that when we are asking the designer to print your names on the certificates, mostly it's going to be digital, but still there's no mistake in it, right? So please cooperate on that. And of course, once you get certificate, I would like every one of you to post that in LinkedIn and tell yourself that show your accounts, the contacts that you have achieved this, right? So that will indirectly help us as well and directly help you, will be seen as a continuous learning individual, right? So you should do that. Then the second thing I wanted to talk about is, as you know, we are starting the Testoper Codeathon for test automation. We are actively looking for an experienced test automation expert who could join the training team to provide training, right? So we already have Sumit and one more person, but we need additional people who wants to contribute training on the test automation. So if some of you are interested, comfortable with that, even if you're not comfortable, this is an opportunity to learn and develop your skills and develop your confidence level and so on, because we are a closed loop, closed group, and it could benefit you all. So if someone of you is interested to do that, please reach out to Sumit or me. We would be happy to have you to in the trainers team to provide training for the test automation track.
Thank you, Kader.
So let me ask anyone in this call is interested. We have 2 more minutes. Wanted to provide training together with Sumit on that track.
Hi, Khaled, this is Abdul.
Hey, Abdul.
Yes, I'd like to get involved in this, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. So you have experience in test automation for years, and you'd be able to, you understand, no? What I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So you should reach out to Sumit. Sumit, if you could talk to Abdul and
Yeah.
see if, any support.
I'll get in
right?
touch with you after this meeting.
Yeah. Any support, like for example, responding the questions in the chat, maybe taking some sessions on a particular topic. In the test automation track, we plan to do everything, right? Starting from, all the application testing. That's what we are starting. And then we will get into infrastructure and other things as things evolve, right? So at least for this year, we are planning to start with web testing, mobile testing, cover, right? Which one we are going to start with, Smith will decide, but at a very high level, web testing, mobile testing, API testing, desktop testing, right? So all kinds of application testing we are going to cover, and the different open sources that are used and the exercises around that. Okay. So I understand that some of you may not be expert in some topics, right? But where you are expert, have a hands-on experience, so you can contribute. It will be very, very helpful.
Yeah, so like
Okay.
I will be interested for the mobile side of the testing, but you already know I don't have experience into automation. I mean, if it is related and linked with automation, then I won't be able to contribute. But if it is more about different platforms, like I work on Microsoft, like Windows Mobile C, Modern, HoloLens, then Android and iOS. So if it is a particularly with that, then I can probably contribute.
Sure. Maybe what you guys can do is whatever the topic that you believe you can contribute to the community, you can probably send those topic to Sumit in the call, right? Sumit.mahajan@testoper.com, right? So he would be able to look at it and fit you into the curriculum when it happens. Anyone
Right.
else here want to volunteer?
All right. So I'll give you a background on this, right? So uh, we are looking for someone who might not be expert in everything, right? But just a specific topic, so that we can have those sessions align, and we basically group within the team to make sure that we are covering whatever expertise we have in the team to gain knowledge from that person, right? So that's the whole idea. Uh, I mean, we can deliver all, but then we want someone who is expert in that area to come in and deliver those lectures for us, right? Uh, Thanks, Abdul and Pooja. I'll get in touch with you. But this track mostly is for automation, right? So we want you to get ramped up on automation, and that's the current market trend and the skill set that we are aiming to provide it to you all, right? It's definitely a help with the expertise that you guys have in manual testing that will make scenario building much more easier, right? And then we can relate it how it works in automation as well. So that's a great skill to have. But in terms of delivering, we are only going to deliver in automation. So I'll get in touch with you guys and see where your skill set lies, and then we'll take it forward from there.
Yeah. So Navena, what about you? You should be contributing too, because I saw that you unmuted.
Hi.
Yeah, so yeah, go Navina.
Well, I'm definitely not an expert, but I could maybe answer some beginner questions about Selenium and maybe even about Rest Assured because that's the topic that I'm studying currently.
Mhm.
Awesome.
And there is also a thing that I could help with. It could be like building a framework for a Selenium UI test suite, for example, because that's something I also worked on recently with test
Great.
engine.
Great.
So what I will do as a pre-stage to the test automation track, right? I'll send you a survey to all of you to get your inputs on what topic you want to start first. So I will list down a couple of topics, and then based on your comfort level or your priority, select in a particular sequence what topics you want to see covered first. So based on the majority answers, I will start those topics first, right? And then in that same survey form, I will attach these inputs as well, where I will ask if someone is whatever your skill set is, so that you can mention it there and you're comfortable delivering, and then I will take it further from there.
Yeah. Hey, that's one way of doing it, Sumit. But I also want to make sure that people don't wait for the survey. If someone is
Yeah, yeah.
interested, like Navena, Vikas, please send an email to Sumit.
Correct.
And I just want to say a last point and then turn it over to Shad. What's important here is team. The definition of you might understand, right? Why we are asking this, and I really wanted you to understand. Testo per Codeathon is all about, by definition, community experts delivering community, training and helping community members to succeed. That's what is the Testo per Codeathon definition. If we wanted to truly achieve that definition, we want community members to get involved in providing helping each other in training and so on. Of course, we will be there to help you to sequence, identify the topics, and if some of the topics, when it comes into the sequence of delivery, if someone is not there, we have backups to delivery. All those things are there. But still, the success of this whole program depends on how we all are, working together to help each other and train each other. That's the point. All right, so good. I think we took enough time. I will probably hand over now to Shad. Shad, if you want to take over your session. Sorry, we took a
Yeah.
little bit more time.
Oh, no problem.
It's like almost 27 people, which is good for the weather is actually good also, right? So yeah, I think you can get started with this, Shad.
Okay, sounds good.
Right, sure.
Hey guys, so let's start with the exercise that I gave during the last session. I'd like to know if you guys were able to complete them. What's your feedback regarding them? We'll go over the solutions now.
Yeah, I had completed it.
Okay, both of them?
Yes.
Okay, so do you want to sort of go over how you did it? Like, what was your approach?
Yes, yeah. 1 second. So how can I share my desktop? Yes. Yeah, so for first exercise, I just define a function and where we can input a number, and after that I made a recursive function of that. So
What was so the recursive function of that? What was the input there?
sorry, where do you mean?
Yeah, let me just take over. So you were right. You make a function like you can see over here.
Yeah.
The first step is setting a base value, right? So whenever you're dealing with recursion, it's very important to set a base value. You don't want a recursive function that's just going to keep going, to infinity. So you need to tell it when to stop. So here's an example of the base function, which is when I'm saying, and this is for the factorial, right? So for those people who don't know what a factorial is, it's basically the product of a number with all the numbers preceding it. So over here, you can see that the base function is when n equals to 1. When this is true, return n. Then the recursive function is this one, right? And the key over here is that you're going to call the recursive function as n minus 1, because you want the sort of product of the number n multiplied by the number behind n, right? So that's really the key here. And to see sort of how this looks in a chart form, I included this. This was sort of a hint to you guys in the last session as well, right? So this is how this recursive function operates. So when it reaches this is the base. It returns something. That returns something over here, and then we get an answer. Is that clear? Again, this doesn't cover recursion in its entirety. Recursion, when you dig into it, you can go into how to navigate trees and all of that. But this should give you a sort of idea of how recursion works. Okay, so any suggestions on how we can solve the circle exercise that I gave, where you were asked to create a class which you could use to find the area and perimeter of a circle? Were you guys able to do that? Okay, let me go over the solution for that. So I defined a class. I named it circle here. And I created a function that initialized the class. And here I gave the radius of the circle, right? To find the area or the perimeter of a circle, we just basically only need the radius, right? Then I defined a function for area, and I defined a function for perimeter. And again, we use the radius that we already asked the user to input in these two functions.
Hetal
Yes.
here.
Hey.
Can you make a little bit font bigger so we can read it. It's a little bit smaller, looks like to me. I don't know if anybody else has the problem.
Okay, I'll make it bigger.
Yeah, a little bit.
Is that better?
I don't know. I don't see that changed here on my end.
Sorry, no yet changed on my end.
Sorry, I didn't hear you. Do you want me to make it bigger?
1 second. I don't see any screen right now.
Oh, okay, okay. I think that could be useful. Here, let me do this again.
I don't know if
Now,
other people.
can you see it now?
Yes, it's good enough.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, right. Yeah, so this is the solution to the circle exercise I gave. I'll just go over it really quickly because we have to get to the other stuff as well. So
Yep.
I am basically creating a class called circle here. When it's initialized, a radius is asked for, right? Here is a variable first, and I'm assigning it circle, the class, and I'm giving it 3 as a radius. Now, within this class, there are 2 methods. One is the area function and one is the perimeter function, right? And you can see the formulas for this. Radius to the power 2 multiplied by pi 3.14. Let's run this. Here we go. So we're printing the perimeter over here. Right, guys? And that is 18.84. Any questions about this logic over here? We covered most of this in the last class, so this should be pretty simple for you guys. Okay. So, you know, in this class, we have to give a project. So there's one thing that we should have probably covered in one of the sections before, but you know, that we skipped that, and Hetal also recommended that I cover this, right? So that's just the try and except methods in Python.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So what try and except allows us to do is basically handle errors that we get while we write code. And there are really basically 2 kinds of errors that you're going to get. One are syntax errors, which are, you know, an error in the way you've written the code, and exception errors, right? So there's a long list of exception errors. You can go look them up. But here are some examples. You have an IO error, which basically means that you were trying to access a file. A lot of times this is because you were trying to access a file that couldn't open. There's a value error. This could be when you're using a function and you're giving it a value that it doesn't understand, or an import error. This could be you're trying to use a module in Python that you don't have or that your Python interpreter cannot find. So when we're writing code, we need to sort of understand these errors are going to happen and have a mechanism to deal with them. And that mechanism is try and except. Let's see this in action. So here I have a function that divides 2 numbers. So it's going to divide 3 and x and y. Now, an error that Python's going to always give you is if you divide anything by 0. Let me first try that and see what happens when I divide something by 0. Here's a 0 division error that I just got, right? It's called, I'm trying to divide something by 0. So how do I deal with it? So to deal with it, I made this function over here, which tells Python to try this. And if this successfully computes, print out the answer here, right? If there is an error, and in this case, I'm telling it, if you encounter the 0 division error, print this statement. So the benefit of this is if you're iterating over, say, multiple files, and you expect some files to give an error, your whole script won't stop. It'll just print this out and it'll continue the iteration. So let's say you run a loop and you want to read multiple files, and one of those files is corrupt. So you don't want to encounter a scenario where your whole script stops because of that one corrupt file. If you do try and except, you can make sure that you get this error on the corrupt file, but then your script will continue working. Let's see this in action now. So I'm using this function over here. Let's use it. And here is the output. It gave me an error and it just printed, sorry, you are dividing by 0. Any questions here?
No, I don't see any questions. Ask.
Okay, yeah.
No.
Yes.
Are you covering more scenarios of try, accept, finally, and else, right?
No, I'm just going to do these because we have to finish classes today.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Yeah.
Okay, one more note. Sorry?
Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to confirm my understanding. So does this mean that if you're not printing this particular error statement, then it is going to break the statement on getting an error abruptly? Does that mean that?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Hetal, did you understand the question?
Yes. She's asking like if there is an error, then it's going to break the program from that point of line where it is creating the error. But if you are accepting that error and printing and handling, either you can write that error in a file or log table or anywhere. So you are not breaking your sequence of compilation or running your program. You are continuing your task and reporting your error in others on the side. So
Yeah, this is very useful when you run a Python script on a number of different files. That's usually when it's very important because you don't want your script to stop because of one error or one bad file.
Yep.
Okay. Right. So let's get back to classes. So one really important principle in classes and objects is called inheritance. What inheritance is that it allows us to create a class that is built upon a existing class that you've already defined. And a class that is based upon the attributes of an existing class is going to inherit all the attributes and methods of what we can call the parent class, right? Let's see an example of inheritance. Okay, so here's a class called user. When you initialize it, you give the name of the user, and it has a method here called say hi, which basically prints this message, hi, I am, and then the name. Now, what I've done over here is I've created a admin user class, right? And an admin user class is a subclass of user, which means all of these are also applicable for admin user. And I'm passing this over here, as you can see. So now I've created a variable X, and that is a user named Saad, Y, admin user named John. Let's see what.
दो टाइम ना होता.
Let me run this. So now it's printing X and the type of X, right? So you can see that, 1 second, yeah. X is a user object and Y is a admin user object. Now, when I write this command, y.sayHi, you can see that Y is actually admin user, but hi, I am John is actually working with this as well, because all of these methods were passed over here.
Sorry, Sat, to stop if somebody has to mute, unmute their microphone, please. It is still on, looks like.
Okay, yeah, let's continue. So I'm saying even though Y is admin user and we've defined this method under user, because we've passed user in admin user and made admin user a subclass of user, all these methods are available to us. So y.sayHi works, as you can see over here. Any questions on this? And again, this is an example of when you can use the pass function as well. Some people had that question in the last session. So this is an example of the pass function. If I get rid of it, this script won't run. Any questions?
No questions.
Can you,
Yeah.
Sad, I have a question. Can you give an example, a practical usage of inheritance?
Could you be like give me an idea of how you want me to show it?
Any business scenario, right?
Yeah. So again,
Let's
this is an example of that, right? So let's say you're setting up a database, and in that database you're going to have users, and you're going to have a special kind of users. Now, these users are also going to have all of these attributes and methods, but there might have some additional stuff as well. So you don't want to copy all of this over here. You just want to make sure that all of these are also defined under this class as well. So again, this example itself is something that you would actually use when you're setting up, for example, a database where you have users and then you have admin users. And the admin users are going to have all the attributes and methods of the users. And they can have additional ones as well, right? So if I, for example, give an attribute over here, let's call it rank equals to senior. This rank is an attribute for admin user. It's not an attribute for user. So if I do user.rank, I won't get any output. It'll give me an error. But if I do admin user.rank, I will get this output, senior.
Great. Thank you, Sad.
Sure. Any other questions? And one more thing for the questions, I'd like you guys to write the questions in the test hopper Codeathon chat. That would be useful. Okay. Now we can check the relationship of an object with its superclass using the isInstant function. Let's see this in action. So based on these two classes, what do you guys think is this, right? So isInstance is going to give a true or a false, right? So let me just ask you, and I'd like to hear, do you think X, which is user, is an instance of user?
Yes.
Yeah, and again, Y is an instance. Do you think Y is an instance of user?
No.
It is actually, right?
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, because we're passing user in admin user. So Y is a instance of user, right? This is an important concept in classes. Is X an instance of admin user? Again, X is this. Is X an instance of admin user? Any ideas?
No.
Yeah, that's correct. It's not. And you can see the output here. False. I'll go over the other examples as well. Is Y an instance of admin user? Yes. There it is. Should be pretty straightforward. And we can also check the type of Y, and we can see that the type of Y is not user, right? The type of Y is actually going to be admin user. The type of Y you can see is admin user, and you can see we're getting true over here. Right, so the type only compares something with its own class, whereas we use isInstance when we want to check if something is a superclass of an object. Any questions here? Okay. Yeah, sorry?
Yeah, so just trying to understand this. If you can just repeat about why is instance of the user, because you just said it's like type Y is equal to admin user.
Yeah, so when we do is an instance command. It's basically checking whether Y is a subclass of user. And you can see over here, Y is defined as admin user. And within the class admin user, we're passing all the attributes and the methods of the class user, which is why this statement is true.
Okay.
Okay, so it's important to understand that admin user is a subclass of user. So all of this here is applicable for this class as well.
So is it like in essence when we are creating an object of class super admin user, you're actually creating an object of user because it's like a super class.
No, it's an object. The object is admin user, but it's taking all the attributes and methods of user. And then, for example, if I write rank senior over here, that is an attribute that's local to admin user, right? So,
Okay.
So is user then a superclass?
yes, it's a super class relative to admin user.
Thanks.
Okay, let's continue. Now, I'm going a bit quick because we have to go over the final project as well. Python has a really cool feature called multiple inheritance as well. Now, not all programming languages have it, but Python does, and there's a way to deal with it, right? Multiple inheritance basically means that you can have a class that has more than one parent. So one class is going to take on the attributes and methods of multiple classes. Let's see this principle. Okay. So I have three classes over here. One is class B. It has a method over here. When it's called, all it does is print B, right? And I'm printing B so you can keep track of the method that it's being used to print. We have another class C, and C again, it has a one method that prints C. Now we have a class D that is actually inheriting all the attributes of class B and of class C, which means that this method and this method is applicable with class D. Let me run this and let's see what happens when we assign a variable D to class D and just run these methods. Okay. So what we get here is, one second. Yeah. What we get here is everything works, right? So when we do d.b, we can access this method over here and we get B printed. When we do d.c, we can access this method and C is printed. When we do d.d, and then this one is accessible and D is printed. Now, one thing that comes about here is, okay, what if we have methods that have the same name in the parent class, right? So which one is prioritized? So for that, Python provides a MRO function, which actually deals with this issue, right? The MRO stands for multiple resolution order. So over here, it's the same classes, except over here, these methods in class C and class B here are the same thing, right? X and X. And all D is doing is passing these methods over here. So what we want to know is, okay, if I'm going to ask, if I'm going to write D.X, which of these will be accessed or which of these will be reached first? Let's check that out. So here I do the same thing. I create a variable d and assign it to this class. And then I access d.x. Now you can see that it's printing b over here, which is this one. It's not printing this one. Now, when I do d.mro, it's going to give me the sort of multiple resolution order of what the priority is of the methods that are accessed. So you can see it's prioritizing B above C. That's why B is being printed over here. And obviously the first, if there was an X function, if there was a function named X within D, that would be the first preferred function, followed by B and followed by C. Any questions up till here?
So Shad, is it like randomly selected or it has some formula?
No, so this one's on top of this. So if I move these two around, then this is going to flip as well. So you can actually move that around. You can change the resolution order. We aren't going to get into that, but when you're making something really complex, you would want to have your own resolution order that you use.
So
It's not right.
Shad,
It's not.
if you pass first C and then B in class D attributes, so how it will look? Can you please try it?
Yeah, sure. There you go.
Yeah.
C is now first.
Thanks.
This is coming here.
So the one that is defined first will be picked first, or the one that is inherited first will be picked first?
I think it's due to the inherited one. Let me just confirm that.
Yep. Try that one.
Yeah. It's because I'm putting
Perfect.
B over here first.
Yep.
This is first in the MRO order. And again, when you make complex software, you want to have your own sort of hierarchy in terms of multiple inheritance. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Great. So we have 15 minutes left now. What I want to do is I want to go over the final project that we have. Again, we haven't covered classes entirely. There's a lot more to cover in classes, and I encourage you guys to do some reading yourself. That we still haven't covered descriptors and stuff like that, and those are obviously important. So I'd like you guys to go over those in your own time, and you'll be using some of those in the main project as well. Right, so there are basically two options that you guys have for the main project. And again, the main project is something that I want you guys to actually also put on GitHub so that your peers can actually go and collaborate and make improvements to it, right? So that is something that needs to be submitted. So the first option is if you want a very defined project, you can do this one, which is basically create a Python command line to-do application. And this is something that needs to have some sort of navigation, right? So I want like numeric menus, a user registration mechanism. You don't have to worry about something like password encryption, but just needs to have like an input where someone puts in their username and password. And for the backend, just do a CSV backend, right? So this is something that's database is locally stored CSV files. And these are some of the requirements of the project, right? So you should be able to sign in or create login credentials. You should be able to access the history of the to-do tasks that you've created. You should be able to do new entries, and each entry should have a title, description, date of creation, and deadline. Again, there are a lot of tools that you're going to need to do this task, right? So one example of a tool you'll be using is pandas that can optimally deal with CSV files. And again, there'll be other tools as well. You'll be using the time module from Python to record the current time, for example, right? So a lot of what you've learned during this course, you will be using all of that to make an actual sort of application that achieves a task and has some sort of a way to interact with users, right? So this is one option for a final project. Any questions on this?
Yeah. What do you want to achieve by a deadline?
Yeah, so again, with the to-do application, you usually have a title of the to-do task, the description of the to-do task, the date that a task is created, and the deadline in terms of when this to-do thing needs to be completed, right? So this would basically be an input from the user in a date format. So it gives you an idea of how to deal with a date in Python. Any other questions? And then I'll give you the second option for the final project.
What is the purpose of the CSV? The CSV is the kind of database you're going to store in your database, like whatever
Yeah.
you're in the entries to do list.
Yes.
That is
So
going to be
so within your project directory, you should have a CSV file where you're recording, for example, multiple CSV files where you're recording the number of users that have signed up and their credentials. And you would also need sort of a backend for the entries, right? So if you want to access the history of to-do entries for a user, you should be able to do that because they're stored in a CSV backend. I gave CSV as an option because I don't know, I don't know how efficient, how much you guys know SQL or something like that. CSV should be straightforward for everyone.
So it could be a text or an Excel file.
Yeah, you can do with the text file too. Yeah.
Pandas is, that's why I mentioned pandas. So you can do it with either in a CSV file or an Excel file as well, right? An Excel SX file. Okay. Any other questions?
No.
And again, this is
Actually, I really didn't get the whole picture of it. So we are trying to create a sign in for the user, and then are we recording that sign in as a history in the?
Yeah. So one way I want you to think about this application is that it's not one sort of big thing that you should do together. You should do this in different modules, right? So first you can start by just making an application that uses the sign-in and login credentials, creates them and accesses them. So you're going to have a CSV file on the backend that's, let's say, blank. And then you're going to make a Python file, a Python file that actually interacts with that CSV file, and you can use it to create login credentials. Those credentials can then be stored in that CSV file. And then another application you can make using Python that's going to access those CSV files. So think of each of these tasks as different modules, work on those modules individually, and then put them together.
Okay.
And the CSV is basically a database that you're going to use to record everything that your application does. And that database is going to be within the directory of the project. Any other questions? And yeah, this is something that needs to be, sorry.
Yeah, I have one. So in reference to what Jaspreet asked that, so we will have a CSV file and all the login details will be recorded out there in the CSV. And then we would be fetching the records out of that. So when we are creating a login credentials, we won't be creating to-do entries at that point of time. So when we create a to-do entries, are they going to get append against the same user under the CSV file, same
Yes,
CSV file?
so an idea for that, and again, there are different ways that you can set up this architecture, but one way you can do it is that you can have two CSV files, one CSV file that just has the login credentials, right? So you can log someone in, and another CSV file that has a column which has the username in it and all the other information related to the to-do tasks, right? So if a certain user logs in, only those entries that are associated with that user are visible, right? So that's one way of you doing that with just two CSV files.
With one Excel file also you can do it with two different sheet. You can create one for the user and one for the to-do list. So using that libraries, you can read this individual sheet as well inside the Excel files.
Yeah, and I want you to think of this problem as something that you can solve with object-oriented programming, right? So I did multiple classes here of a user, right? So I want you to try to replicate that. Don't just do something which has multiple functions. Actually do or some kind of object-oriented programming for this project.
Separate each and every task class base and method base inside, and then merge all together in a one final when entry point is for your application.
Yeah, the best benefit of this is that let's say you're not able to do a small component of these entries correctly, you'll still have everything else, right? So it'll be something that you can put together and then we can all try.
Yeah.
Okay, so the second option. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure. So the second option for a final project, and this is more open-ended, if you want to do something more creative, you can do it. And this is, we really just want you to create a library in Python that has some functionality that you feel we'll find useful, right? And you are completely, free in terms of what those functionalities will be. Once you create it and put it up on GitHub, all of us can contribute to it, see what you've done, and maybe even, make some use of it in a real life scenario. So again, if you have any ideas of something really cool that you can do with Python, we'd love for you to make it into a library and make it sort of accessible to everyone. Any questions on this project? I didn't write the details of that down over here, but that's another option as well. Right. Any questions on that?
No question on the chat.
Just want to confirm. So, are we saying the final project are now two?
Sorry? Yeah. There are two options for a final project, right? This is something that's very specifically defined, which you can do. If you don't want to do this, you can do something that, with your own idea that you might have, of something that really cool that you can do with a Python library.
Okay.
And I'll, on the chat on Codeathon, I'll write the specifics of the second project option as well. This PPT only has one. Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah. So if you want to read more on the topics that we covered, the book link is over here. If you have any other questions regarding classes or anything we've covered or anything regarding the project, just ask it right now because we have a few minutes left. Yeah.
Sure. Can you, like, if time allows, can you show us like the breakpoints? I think it's something that I would like to know.
Okay. You mean try and accept or using break?
Using break.
Okay, sure.
From the IDE.
Okay.
Shad, you have been nice to complete it on time, but we took your 10 minutes time, so please feel free to use 10 more minutes.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Let's say 5, right? Is this what you mean by a break?
I guess he's talking about the debugging.
The debugging break.
Yeah, the debugging part. Sorry, I was mute.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, sorry about that. I wrote this whole thing down. Let me just get rid of it. Yeah, what do you want to see here?
The
We want
breakpoints,
to
like
the breakpoints when you can put the dots in beside the numbers, given numbers of the line of the code. You can click over there. It's going to highlight the red thing. Do you want me to switch my?
Yeah. Can you show that, Hetzel?
Yeah, sure. 1 second.
Let me close mine.
My desktop here. Full desktop. Okay. Let me know if you guys able to see or not.
Yeah, we can see.
Oh, you can see it?
Yeah.
Where is my pie chart? Here. Okay. This is what I think. Let's say I have a num variable created here, and I'm just trying to print the num. What the purpose of breakpoint is, like you want to debug the code to see what the values of particular variable at the specific time of executions, or if any kind of error is occurring. Just 1 second. Any kind of error is occurring, then you want to catch and identifying while you're debugging. So what I'm just using just 2 line of code. Might be you have 1,000 lines of code and multiple functions and import class and libraries, a lot of things. So you can put wherever is appropriate. You want to see the particular executions and value or the operations, what is going on. You can put the like this red dots. It is called the breakpoint. The difference by doing the default, you hit run, it's just going to run directly. Let's say sorry, I put the wrong one. So when I click run, just simply run, it's going to directly put me the give me the output 5. But if I want to debug and see what is the num values at the point of time when the line is getting executed, then I can do the debug. When you do the debug, same way you have to choose the file, which file you want to debug. And you can see here, there is a toolbar, which you can use step in, step out, go inner step, and all those things, right? So right now, there is my F8. If I press F8, it will going to, wait a second, why it's not coming up? Let's take time. What looks like my console. Nope. Debug. Sorry, my window, it looks like lost. I can see the debug window. Okay. What is this? Maybe I'm running the wrong file, looks like. Okay, let me try one more time. I have to stop the debugging here.
yeah, I think you're running breakpoints or the another file.
Yeah, that's what I feel is. Let me try one more time. So when you, but the point is like you can debug. That's a breakpoint. Yes, I did it. Okay, I think this is putting the variable watch or what. I didn't try with the PyCharm debugging. I try with the Visual Code. Where is my next step? Okay, let me try this one. What is happening? Actually, it's supposed to go give me the highlights of this breakpoint, and then I can step in with the F8 and see what is the value. When I mouse over to the num, you can see what the value of the num value variable is.
But if we are running the loop, then like suppose in 5th iteration or 6th iteration there is some trouble, or there's some.
Anywhere in your line of code, you can put the breakpoints, and it will stop your executions.
But yeah, but it will stop at the 1st iteration, right? So, but I need to find something in the 5th iteration. So how that?
Okay, that is not like, let's say if you have a for loop with like 5 lines of code inside the for loop, the logic part. if you put the breakpoint any line, let's say second line, you put the breakpoint, it will apply for all the iteration. It's not for specific iteration. If you want like specific kind thing, then you can put the if condition. Let's say if my iteration I like index is 5, let's say, then write that particular line. If it's only apply for that iterations, put that line under that if condition and put the breakpoints. But that line is won't execute for the other iteration because you are conditioning there. Like if 5 iterate number, like sorry, the iteration number 5, then only do this. At that time, it will raise your breakpoint and let you to watch what is going on with that particular line, variables, or the operations. I don't know, my ID is supposed to come here. Why it's coming like this way? Maybe I have done something wrong with my, yes, this is running one. Let me try one more time.
Can I show it with a simple for loop? I have already done on my
Oh, you
PyCharm.
have, because in a PyCharm, like it's doing stepping, but I cannot show you in the console way here how it is doing it.
Yeah, because the program is too small, so just write a for loop for I in range 5, then you will able to get a full result.
Yeah, you can do that. Let me just disconnect my screen.
So many YouTubers that use this PyCharm.
Oh.
Yeah, so
They use PyCharm.
suppose I put a breakpoint in the first line.
So they're doing Python for their coding. You don't know.
Okay, so suppose I put a breakpoint over here in a for loop. So just click debugging, and you will get a detailed console over here.
Yeah.
And just click on step into. It's F7. So you will see that currently i's value is 0, and I put a condition that if I is equal to or less than 5, then print I. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go to next step. So here you can see that the i's value is like current value is changing. So if you go to console, it's already printed 0 and 1. And now it's printing 2. It's supposed to print 2 now.
Yeah.
So by breakpoint, you actually see like what's going on in real time debugging.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can control the execution.
Yes.
Yeah, you can easily find the errors. If any errors are coming and you're not able to figure it out from where it is coming, then you can put the breakpoints logically, like this could be the possible place, and then try to catch it, like if this particular line of code is coming or something.
So you can put a breakpoint like at any place in the program. It's not mandatory that you have to put it on first place. Like you can put it on 1000th line or 500th line, yeah, anywhere, and you can start debugging from there.
Yeah, the purpose of putting the breakpoint is you want to find out at particular line what is going on. If you are stuck with errors, or if you are not getting the expected output or something, then you want to watch like what is happening at that particular line. Does it doing the right job or not? If it's not doing the right job, and then you can easily try to find out what is going wrong over there as well. And that's the use of breakpoints.
Okay, great. Thanks for that, Hetal. And yes, I'm sorry, I didn't get the other guy's name whose screen is being shared right now.
Vikash.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Vikash.
Vikas, yeah. Thanks, Vikas. Vikas, are you, what do you do, basically?
Yeah, like I'm not currently working in IT, but I'm trying to get in IT. But I know lots of technology and tools like DevOps technology, especially Ansible, Jenkins, and everything. Yeah, but I know basic things. I'm not expert in that. Yeah.
Okay, good. Thanks for participating, Vikas. I trust you're also attending the Saturday session, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Good work.
Okay, thanks guys. Any other questions before we end the session?
No, I don't see any question on the chat.
Okay, and yeah, sorry.
Vaishali here. I have a question. Actually, if I am declaring a variable, outside the function definition, and I'm
Yes.
using that variable inside the function, I get an error. I mean, it is unbound local error, something like this. Local variable A referenced before assignment. So what? I mean, how can I
Okay.
solve that?
Um, Wait, let me try to recreate that, right?
Yeah.
You are just simply printing that variable which is outside of the def, or you
No,
are
I mean, I just suppose sum. I've taken a variable called sum. So
okay.
I've assigned some value to it, sum equals to 1. And inside the function, I'm using it as sum equals to sum plus something.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that time it gives me error.
Okay.
Can you
Yeah.
copy that error on the chat?
You want the error or the
Oh,
code?
sorry, the code, the sort of code that you're getting stuck on.
Yeah, I can paste here.
Actually, C is doing the kind of sum equal to sum plus. So that sum particular, it's considered as a local variable, and that local variable is not defined. But if you define before you doing the sum equal to sum plus 5, and if you create the sum variable before that line, that means it's considered that local sum variable is created, and then that variable you are using. But if you intended to use the variable which is created outside, this is called the global variable, then you have to put the global keyword before that sum, then you can use it.
Okay.
Yeah, but you're typing, you're putting your code into the chat, right?
I put it on in the comment. Can you see it in the chat?
Yeah. So one way to immediately, let me share my screen, right?
Yeah.
So you can see this A is faded, right? So you automatically know that there's an error over here, right? So let me counter that. Let's say I just do print A and print A along with N. So this should work. And I'm going to tell you why that works and why your example does not.
Okay.
Right, this is working. The reason yours is not working is because you're doing A is equal to
A plus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is why it's not working, essentially.
Yeah, but if
Because
she
of the
creates a variable as a local variable, and then or if she wants to use that, just yeah, like the way.
now it's gonna work, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, you can see that the IDE is assisting you in this
Mhm.
because this thing is faded right now. Let me move this.
So like if sometimes if I need to do something like this, so it's not possible, or I'll have to declare it as a global variable.
No, so it's try to follow the logic over here, right? You're saying that A is now equal to A plus N.
Yeah.
It doesn't understand what this is, essentially.
Okay.
Hetal, could you explain this better?
Can you try to put before this line, can you put just global as a keyword and then A? Can you do that? Global?
On top?
Yes, over there, global A, and then run it.
Oh, sorry, I'm not printing anything.
Okay, yeah, print it. Print A.
Yeah.
No, because you're not returning anything. Return
Oh
A or
yeah,
something.
sorry.
Yeah.
Is this fine?
Yep.
Yep. You can see here. The reason is because you are putting like global as a keyword. You are not letting that function know this A means what I have declared outside, which is the global variable, and now you can use it. If you want to, let's say n, if you want to add something a equal to b plus n, then the b is considered as a local variable and that must has to be declared or defined before you use it. That's a simple logic. So here you are using as a global variable which you already defined outside of the function, but you want to use as a part of the function's manipulation or calculation. Then you have to just put the keyword global, so it recognize, okay, this is a means what you have defined outside as a globally that you want to use it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. No.
Okay, I think we can end the session now. Any other questions?
Yeah, let me see if I have any question on chat. I'll just close the chat. What is the project due? They are asking about when we have to submit the project.
Ideally, the next session is going to be shorter. So what I would like to do is, we can go over the solutions, not the solutions, the code that you guys have submitted for the projects during the next class. So a week from now. And again, it doesn't have to be fully complete by then, but just make sure that you submitted some code that we can go over and explore.
And if you have any questions or stuck somewhere to move forward, you can put the questions on a chat, so we will try to answer over there as well. I would like to, maybe I will create some step how they can proceed from to get into the end result of this project. Then they can follow it, or otherwise they have question directly they can ask.
Yeah, and if you don't want to do this exact project, you can also do the second option, which is just create a library that we can all use and find interesting. Okay. Great.
Just a quick question, Shad, and this is for Joy. So, Joy, how is the study group ongoing? Maybe we can use the reason I'm asking is we can use the study group to, help the attendees to build this project, right?
Yeah.
Hi, Kader. It was really good. It's growing. We had actually 4 participants on Wednesday, on Monday. We went through the whole, the exercise part of it, and we also explored some other code, and it was really good. So we can actually explore the option of the project as well coming Monday, but that might be a bit too late for Wednesday.
Yeah, that's okay. You can probably do whatever that you can do on Monday, and then next week you can continue, right? The study group is for that, and if required, you can request Shad or Hetal to join the study group and help you guys with the project if required.
Yes.
Yeah, the important part about the project is that you should put it on GitHub. So we can go and actually interact with the code directly and suggest improvements. And
I have a question. Can we use that Teams link on other days as well, like not only on Monday, but can we reuse the link over the week? Because there has been a request to have more of these groups, not only on Monday, but extra sessions. Is that possible that we can reuse the link?
Just fix the time and let us know. We'll create and send you the link.
Actually,
that should not be
Monday
an issue at all.
harder for me as well. That's why I couldn't join last 2 sessions. Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, the weekend would be
fine.
better.
At least for the ones who are available at a certain time, we were looking at 4:30 p.m., 4:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. That was a convenient time for most of us who were in the group at that point in time.
So it's on Saturday or Sunday?
Weekdays. So we'll be regrouping again on Thursday.
Oh, weekdays is very harder because I'm working full time and it's hard for me to join.
We'll open up for you guys the meeting link. That should not be an issue at all. Okay.
I
And Shad,
sorry,
go ahead.
Yes.
I also have access to Zoom. So if it is not convenient that we can use that link, I can, but I don't want to do it because it's going to be a different meeting. And I want to do it through Testoper. right? But if you are okay, Kader, I can use my Zoom link.
No, you should be using Teams, Joy. Reason is because
Yes,
the
I
chat,
agree.
everything will be recorded for future community members and
Yeah,
all
I
the things
agree.
that you're doing,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So we should do it through the Testoper platform. So Shad, the question. So the projects that you're giving right now, just my curiosity, you're giving this to evaluate the candidates for the certificate reason that we talked about, or is it?
No,
What
I
was
thought
your?
I think the certificate is based on attendance, right? The project, and again, we want everyone to
can add
try
up.
this
You
project,
can
but
add up the
again, I don't
project.
expect, I don't expect everyone to fully complete this project, right? This is just a project that will allow someone to use everything that they've learned in this class and sort of create a product essentially.
Okay, so the thought process that maybe I'll repeat it, right? So obviously
Yeah.
the attendance is the thought process for the certificate, right? But also we wanted to give another additional opportunity for those because of personal reasons, did not meet the attendance requirement. If they are able to complete either the survey, Q&A, or whatever short test, we wanted to consider them as well. Maybe you can use this project as a baseline for such people whoever have
Yeah, of course.
completed, don't have attendance. You can let me know. We can create certificates for them.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Perfect. All right. So it's over time, but it's worth. It's all our mistake because we were moving it into new tenant. Sorry about it. It's probably going to take 2 weeks for us to completely migrate, move the chats, whatever the best that we could move. But at least I can tell you now that we have a permanent tenant without a trail tenant, and moving forward, everything will be recorded inside. We should be good to go. So having said that, thanks guys for joining, and continue collaborating, continue contributing, continue helping. Most importantly, please spread this to your friends, colleagues, events, whatever that we do, and try to bring more people to benefit from this. All right?
Great. Thanks, everyone.
Perfect. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.